Welcome back. Today, in this video, our topic is the verb. Verb is one of the part of speech, so we are going to discuss verbs today. Now, the first and the foremost thing in verb. What is verb? Right? A verb is a word that tells or asserts something about a person or a thing. Actually, the verb is the most important word in a sentence. A verb shows what is happening in the sentence. In a sentence, a verb may tell us what a person or thing does. Like you can see the examples. She teaches me in my school. What am I doing here? Person is teaching. The verb teaches. You can see that the subject is doing something and that is teaching. Hari often visited his village. Here, what is happening? Visit, right? So, these words are verbs. A verb also tells that what is done to a person or thing. Like, he was punished. You can see that the punishment was given to him, right? So, what is done to a person is also shown by verb. Shikha was taught a lesson. Here, taught is a verb. Verb also tells us that what a person or a thing is. Can you identify the verb in these sentences? The first one is she is a doctor. Can you identify the verb here? The verb is. Similarly, in the next sentence also, she is a village girl is a verb. Now, is a present form of verb be. Be is a regular or ordinary verb. So, it is not necessary that always action words are verbs. The verbs can be like is, am and are, which are not showing an action but acting as verbs. Now, there are two classes of verbs, and these two classes are one is the auxiliary verbs are also called as helping verbs, and the other one is the ordinary or regular verbs. Auxiliary verbs are again of two types, that is primary and modal auxiliaries. Auxiliary verbs are actually helping verbs. They are not doing an action in the sentence, but they are supporting the action verbs. Primary auxiliary verbs can be to have, and it has three forms: has, have, and had. To be, and forms are is, am, are, present tense, was and were in past tense, been and been in continuous form. And to do, verbs form have, do, does, and did. Primary auxiliary verbs play a very important role as they support the action words. Next auxiliary verbs are modal auxiliaries. Actually, modal auxiliaries are used to show the mood. In grammar, from mood I mean the attitude of the speaker. Words like will, must, should, may, etc. are modal auxiliary verbs. These verbs do not do any action in the sentence. Like, she is writing a letter. In this sentence, writing is the main verb and is helping verb. Can you see? Writing is the main verb and is supporting this writing and it acting as a helping verb. Again in the sentence, he is working now. Working is main verb and is acting as a helping verb. the next example. My sister can play the guitar. Here, can is actually a modal auxiliary. It is showing the mood, the ability of the speaker. So, we use modal auxiliaries to show the attitude, ability, possibilities of the speaker. Modal auxiliaries do not possess ing form. Ordinary verbs are ordinary actions like she is a doctor or he is writing. So the words like to write, to play, to work, etc. are called ordinary verbs. Now coming to kinds of verb. There are two kinds of verb and both the verbs are very important. The first one is transitive verb. Transitive verbs are very important. Transit means to move. The action of transitive verb passes over to the object. See the examples. She writes a letter. Can you see the object here? The writing process is passing the impact or the effect on the letter. So, we can see that action writing is passing over to the object letter. We can ask a question. She writes what? So the answer is a letter. Check out the next example. She teaches me. Who? She. So can you see the passing action on the object me? See one more example. Arjun kicked the ball. The verb kicked is transitive because the action is passes over to the object ball. In transitive verbs, we can ask questions like who, what, etc. Like Arjun kicked what? The ball. So such verbs are called transitive verbs. After transitive verbs, we have intransitive verbs. Intransitive verbs are those verbs in which the action of intransitive verbs does not pass over to the object. It goes back to the subject actually. Like, she cried a lot. Can you find any object here? No. The impact of the verb is going back to the subject. Who was crying? The subject, she. She came on time. Again, the subject is she and there is no object in the verb in the sentence. Rahul laughed loudly. Again in the sentence, there is no object. So we can say that in transitive verbs, action is not being passed to the object. Most verbs can be used both as transitive and as intransitive verbs. So, therefore, better to say that a verb is used transitively or intransitively rather than it is transitive or intransitive. So, this is it for today's video. Keep watching, keep learning.